Welcome back. It's been a day. A lot of stuff's been done, and I made a nice little mess here. Had some of my old scrap orange PLA here, just handy for shoving straight in the hot end to check. Things I've done. First of all, I had the pin that turns this fan, the hot and cooling fan, on and off, was set to D11, which is digital, so it's either on or off. It's now on D6, so that can be PWM'd, and it gets to PLA melting temperature. Now the neat thing is, the outside of the heat block was measuring between 135 and 150, but that's here, just using my old non-contact infrared thermometer. Don't know if you can see. You just focus those little dots, and that in theory is the point you're measuring. And I'd have to take it off and everything to look in the end, but it was melting the pink PLA and the orange PLA, and I got it to spooge out some stuff without much force, actually, which is what we were going for. Now, for whatever reason, I was just figured while this was up here, I would get the E-stop or the E-steps for the extruder calibrated, because it was 5 times too fast, because this metric gear here, that's supposed to be like the hobbed gear, is actually a bigger diameter than the gear on like the Fabricator Mini or whatnot, and it was pushing the PLA through the tube 5 times faster than it should. So as soon as this cooled down to a safe level, 63 degrees, whatever, that's pretty good. That's cold enough for me. We're going to go over here. Hopefully that's not switched on. No. Yeah. Maybe I can do this all in one shot here. We're going to go over here and disconnect the printer. Okay. And we're inside. Let me just move this over where it's easier for you to see. Calculator. I had 500 steps per millimeter, and really it should be like 88, versus measured what actually came out of the end of the thing. So what I went in here is, and I set it from, that was a math, I told it to go 10 millimeters out, and it kicked out 57. So I just divided the 500 that was there down to 88. Another thing I did, I changed I had it on pin 11, and as it hinted in this version of Marlin that maybe I should use pin 6, and I did. I'm gonna say that if I find I'm still getting issues with the head getting a little bit too cold, I'm gonna have a look in the Fabricator Mini's firmware that Chuck did, and see what that is, and maybe lower that, because that's wide open. So we'll see. Maybe that only needs to be like 128, like half speed or something like that. Let's see, what else did I do? I think that's it for now. I got to make some heat sinks for the FETs that drive the heater. I actually have a soldering clip-on heat sink on it right now. That may or may not be good enough. I might have to make like a dedicated aluminum heat sink for it, and if that's the case, I'll do that in the next couple days. But right now, I just want to save my changes and then upload them. So we'll save it. I had to disconnect from the printer in Repetier Host, because to upload new firmware, I just clicked on the little upload button in the top there. It's just up there, just off screen. Let's see if I can move this here a little bit. Yeah, there's not much room here for this. So what I'll do, I'll shrink our little window here. So that's compiling, and then it's going to upload to the printer. As you can see, it's compiling down there. So the force from this little stepper seems to be beyond the force that I was putting on the filament myself. Like before, when I was having the heating issue, I was actually pushing down on the stepper hot enough to pop it off the rail, which is an issue that we'll look at later, which this whole project was about, using that type of rail. But the force now, I could just put that pink, a little piece of the pink or the orange PLA in there and just like push it through with a little bit of force, and it was coming out just fine. So the stepper pushing through this Bowden tube that I had there was plenty good enough. I'm just going to pick you up again because that's boring. The force that the stepper had pushing out the PLA is easily higher than what I was doing by hand. And all I was doing for the test was just taking some of my old PLA and bottom end of a roll and just pushing it through there. Now, I'm pretty sure the thermistors on here are only good up to about 150, so I've set 150 as a max temp everywhere. And I haven't had max temp come up on here as an error in a little while, but I think that may have been an issue with the factory pins, either the pins on the board or the pins in the socket, and I'm not sure. One of them might have had some oil, or maybe I have to redo the pin on this on the cable for that thermistor. I'm not sure. I did the ugly yellow one on the one that goes to the heat bed. I'm not sure what or if anything I've changed just in the alignment of this. It could very well be this cable. Might be a bad connection in there to the thermistor. We'll have to see. Anyhow, I'm just gonna let this upload the new firmware. Okay, it says it's done uploading. So in theory, yeah, there we go. Put my new funny name. It's one of my names for when I'm coding, but I just called it Primate Bot, so it thinks it's ready again, so we're good. Yep, we've got all that changed over. The new E-steps, so let's just fire that up in Repetier. I've still got that down there, so we'll connect again. Alright, I'm going to get it to home the X, home the Y, home the Z. And I'm going to send it back into the middle, back into a sort of parking position I like. There we go. Now, I don't know if there's a good place to put you that you can see what I'm about to do. All I'm going to do now, and I'm probably just going to stop the camera because I've seen it a million times, I'm going to make a mark on the end of that with a pencil, tell it to extrude 10 millimeters, measure if it was 10 this time and not 57, and then see how close I can get that. But anyhow, that's my update for this moment. I'm going to try and get that sorted out, and if it seems to be working with the right number of millimeters, I'm going to try plugging that into there after I try just some raw PLA in it. Then I'll try pushing PLA with the extruder properly this time, and we'll see how that goes. So we'll try that right now. So I got a bit of a mess happening there. It's sticking. But that little stepper up there seems to have the power. Possibly a dirty nozzle, but it seems to have the power. So I'm just going to make sure Yeah, it's pooping out some plastic. So let's just see here. I'm going to push 10 mils. I'm not sure if the right amount is coming out, but I got the tension turned up a bit. All right. I think it's having a problem pushing the filament. I'm actually seeing some bits on the. Welcome back, guys. Well, some news. I noticed some funny colored marks inside the insulator for the thermistor, and they'd kind of always been there. I just didn't look at them close until recently. The wires for the thermistor actually show a little bit of corrosion on them for some reason. There was a break. There was a break in the wire, making the thermistor intermittent depending on the angle it was being held there. You can see on that, I don't know. But yeah, it came off. And yeah, so what I'm going to try and do is take the thermistor off the heat bed, rearrange this to not use the heat bed, and see if I can use its thermistor. It's not that they're expensive, it's just that $1 item that just happens to be, 2 months away or whatever because of the holiday season. It's not a good time for ordering stuff for China, that's for sure. Might be a US supplier, that's not too bad, I'll have a look at. Power supply also, its fault detection detects the heat bed load as almost a pure short, because I believe, I'll have to check the ohm rating, it sees the heat bed as a short. It's pretty funny. So if the heat bed draws any power for more than 2 seconds, the power supply shuts down. And I measured the amperage. It's less than 2/3 of, it's supposed to be able to supply, I think, 18 amps continuous. And I've done it to motors and stuff, but for some reason this heat bed, it don't like it. So yeah, I'll just disable that for now until I can figure out, or maybe get a second power supply, or a stupider power supply that'll just supply the power without tripping itself. We'll see how that goes, but in the meantime, what I might do is just dump the heat bed power supply into the hot end supply in case that's not getting enough power. But I'm pretty sure this little feller here, I'm pretty sure he's done. I don't think there's any way to fix them. I don't see anybody soldering them or anything like that, but yeah, the dark spots on the wires look like corrosion. If you get right close, it's actually green, and that's copper wire. So anyhow, I will see what I can do there, and if I get any of that going. The green tape was there because I did, for a very short moment, have the head starting to print, and then of course it went weird, and that's stuck in there, and then I realized the temperature was off, and that the one thing that can make the temperature off is that. So anyhow, have a go at maybe taking the one out of there for now, installing it there, and we'll see from there. Anyhow, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.